Hi everybody, I am Jim Wanzeck with RE/MAX Masters Millennium, and we're here at 6020 Greenwood Plaza Boulevard at the headquarters, and we're in our Mount Albert radio station, and I have Tyler Holden with Resolute Wealth Management, and he's got a great story to tell. He's one of the people that you want to get to know, and we're going to tell you a little bit about his business. So Tyler, welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks, Jim, for having us.
Yeah, this is great. So tell us about your company, and first, before we do that, hey, tell me about your background. I know you're a Colorado native and that kind of thing, but kind of just let people get to know you.
Sure. So as you just said, I'm a Colorado native by birth. Mm-hmm. Actually grew up mostly on the East Coast, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Florida. Moved back to Colorado my junior year of high school, went to Chatfield Senior High, and then afterwards went up to the University of Wyoming, where I studied broadcast journalism, actually, and played football up there for the University of Wyoming. Very quickly, when I graduated, realized that broadcast journalism wasn't the most family-friendly of careers, especially on the sports side, because if you think about when people watch sports, it's nights and weekends, and everybody else is with their families. And so made the decision pretty early on in my career to transition to something that was going to be more conducive to a family. I was at the same time, while I was pursuing sports broadcasting, working on the sales floor at Men's Warehouse. And so just by the duties of that role, met a lot of business professionals. My now business partner, Eric McGuff, with Resolute Wealth Partners, came in to buy a pair of dress pants 3 days after I told my wife that we were going to start looking for a new career, and we had started praying about what that might look like. And he came in, and we struck up conversation, and 14 years later, we're business partners. And operating our practice just right down the road from you guys.
Yeah, so right around Colorado Boulevard, and then what part of town do you live in?
Yeah, so our office is actually here in the Tech Center off of Yosemite and Orchard.
All right.
And I'm sorry, what was the other question?
Well, just about your family a little bit.
So married for 15 plus years. We've got 3 kids, 10, 8, and 6.
Oh, fantastic.
2 boys and a girl, or excuse me, 2 girls and a boy. We've got dogs, or cats, and land, and so we're looking to get some horses. But
fantastic. Yeah, I live in off of Russellville Road in Franktown. And
great!
Had a ranch there with cows and horses, and so bringing up your family in that environment really grounds you very well. So that's a neat goal that you have.
Exactly. My wife's from Wyoming, and so she's got the cowgirl roots, and we both met there at the university, and so we just moved out to Sedalia.
Okay, well, fantastic. And so my sons played football in college. My oldest played with Tony Romo at Eastern Illinois.
Very cool.
So tell me a little bit what position you played and how was your career?
Yeah, so I was a wide receiver. Played for Dave Logan, actually, just right in the backyard here. So he was at Chatfield at the time, now Cherry Creek. And, played.
They just won the state?
They did, yeah. I actually got to take my son to the game and watch that. So that was fun to see that come full circle. But played for University of Wyoming 2003 through 2006. I had the opportunity to play in a bowl game. We beat UCLA, so that was probably the highlight of my playing career.
That's fantastic. Okay. Well, so now kind of, when we talk about wealth management, I mean, we kind of know generally, but make more specifically, how does that work, and how do we, get to know you from that standpoint and in your services? Yeah,
certainly. So I would say that, wealth management, financial planning, from a historic perspective in the finance industry is still somewhat new. Right? And what I mean by that is if you look back at the banks and the big wirehouse firms that have been around forever, it was primarily investment management. Right? With pensions going away, people living longer, Social Security struggling, there's a much greater emphasis today than at any point in history on the importance of strategic financial planning to make sure that your assets live as long as you do. And so from a planning perspective, as we look at it, right, it's both the defensive side, protecting the people and things that you care about most, as well as the offensive side, which is how do we invest and grow our money so that we have enough in the right places to live the way that we want to live without having to worry about what happens if the market dips?
Right.
Or what happens if we live too long? All those different pieces.
So, I mean, do you take clients on that are more heavily in real estate rather than, the stock market? I mean, what's basically, tell me a little about your focus, because
Sure.
I have a personal interest in that.
Yeah, I mean, we're big fans of what real estate can do in terms of wealth creation as well as other financial planning objectives. And so, I'd say our clientele is across the board with respects to what their primary objectives are in terms of traditional wealth management, like investment accounts, et cetera, versus real estate or other passive income streams or businesses. And so, we are, from that perspective, very broad-based in terms of who we work with. Our ideal client profile is really dependent on life stage, right? We work with folks in all different industries, but the target market that we serve are people that generally have financial resources, the ability to save, right? They're family oriented. They're of good quality character, and they value advice. Right? One of the relations actually to your world that we make frequently is there's a lot of people that you see have the for sale by owner, right? And there's certainly things that you can do on your own, but the value proposition that we have in engaging with clients is to maximize the opportunity.
Yeah.
And just because you can sell real estate on your own doesn't mean that it's necessarily the best way to go.
Got it.
And so we believe the same when it comes to financial planning. There's a lot of tools that are available, especially in the digital world that we live in, for people to access funds or insurance products on their own. But to engage with a professional that is what they do and understand how all of those pieces work together to drive efficiency and hopefully disinherit Uncle Sam from their plan a little bit. That's where we think the opportunity and value comes in partnering with a professional.
So would it be mostly so I come to you, would it be fee based? Are you selling products? I mean, what's your kind of take on how that someone like me that would come to you and get started?
Yeah, great question. So structurally, we've actually built our firm, Resolute Wealth Partners, to be able to engage with our clients with what works best for them. And so we have the structural capacity to engage in a transactional environment where we might be placing an insurance product or helping somebody with setting up a 529 or a rollover IRA or a Roth IRA, different things along those lines. We also have the structural capacity to do fee-based planning where they say, you know what, I want to implement stuff on my own, but I'd like for a professional to build a financial plan and give me an objective opinion on things that I should be doing. But I would say the vast majority of our clients engage with us in a comprehensive wealth management arrangement where we're compensated through implementation of recommendations and through an advisory management fee. And so, in that structure, we like to joke that we're the opposite of the government in terms of like IRS tax schedule, where the more assets we manage, the lower percentage fee that we charge. And we our revenue rises and falls with the markets, and so we feel the same joys and pains that come with the market. And so we have a vested interest, and we operate as a fiduciary, which I think is important.
It's very important, and we talk about that, here at RE/MAX Masters Millennium a lot, is trying to protect our clients and where that relationship really fits in there. So I think that's a nice avenue to hear that. What is your prediction here? Everybody is talking about we're going to go into a recession. How do we deal with this? I have always had some extra cash to put into different assets I'm 66 years old, so I've got to start thinking of things a little bit differently than you do with your young family and stuff like that. But, what would your advice be to, people like me that, maybe be at the tail end but are still looking to make sure that they do their money outlives them?
Sure. Well, I would say that the first thing when it comes to any long-term goal as it relates to finances is to have a plan, right? And so the markets are unpredictable, and there is volatility. And if you're going to invest, then you're conceding with the fact that you're going to be subject to some risk. And so your plan has to assume that stuff like this is going to happen.
Right.
Because if you're caught off guard, that's where you can make an emotional and timing-oriented mistake.
Sure, exactly.
And so, our process when we engage with clients is the initial meeting is a 45 to 60-minute discovery meeting.
Okay.
Where we're trying to understand who and what's important to you, what are your time frames for different goals and objectives, and then we're also capturing what your financial picture looks like.
Okay.
Right? What are your incomes, assets, liabilities, the capacity to save, all of those different pieces.
Okay.
From there, we'll build a financial plan, which is essentially a roadmap that says, if you change nothing from what you're doing, you're here today and you're trying to get here.
Okay.
How are you tracking?
Yeah.
Right? And are you on track? Do you need to save more, or do you have excess? And then from there, we are addressing gaps or inefficiencies within the plan.
Okay.
And then discussing saving strategies and tactics or tools that can help get you there more efficiently. And then the engagement process, if we've decided to work together, is we're going to continue to meet regularly, update that plan, review your situations, life changes, and address those as they come. But we're not caught off guard when a market dip happens, because we've already accounted for the reality that they do happen. And if you're a long-term investor, market downturns can actually be really good.
Yeah, right.
Wealth and opportunity is often created with volatility.
Well, what I always say is that you make money in real estate when you buy, not when you sell. So I think that's kind of the same
very
thing
true.
you're saying in a different way. So that's pretty cool. So if someone was wanting to get a hold of you, I mean, would we work with you? I know you have a team. You told me that you have your team working with you, so it's not just a single two guys. So how does that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question again. So our team in total is 15 team members.
Okay.
We've strategically built our firm to be multi-generational and multifaceted.
Okay.
And so what we mean by that is my business partner, he's a little bit more gray in the hair and has a longer career track record. He's, I believe, 32 or 33 years in practice. I'm 14 years. And then we have a junior partner who's 9 years in the business.
Okay.
And so we're continuing to build that multi-generational firm, because the last thing that we want for any of our clients or team members is to have to look for either a new advisor or a new employer when somebody retires.
Yeah, no, that really is like a big thing, because I've been through several of those situations where, okay, I'm getting out of the business and it was a small firm, and then now what do I do?
Exactly. So that's one of the structural, I would say, advantages that we've designed intentionally within the formation of our firm, is to be able to build a firm that outlasts any one of us.
Yeah.
And this is a little thing, but the reason that our firm's name is Resolute Wealth Partners, not our last names, is ultimately we want to make the importance of us obsolete.
I understand that perfectly.
Yeah. And so to build a firm that has continuity for clients and for team members, we think gives a consistent experience and opportunity to build good relationships over the long term.
Okay.
Now, in terms of the other elements of our structure, we have 5 client-facing advisors, and the other 10 are specialists and support team members.
Okay.
And so we've put the right people in the right seat on the bus.
Sure,
and so
that makes a lot of sense.
We've got people that are specialists on insurance, investments, financial planning, and it's all done in the context of overall wealth management and financial planning.
Well, that is fantastic, and I really have enjoyed spending some time with you, but how would we get a hold of you? What's the best way to do that?
So we're on all the major platforms. So we have our handles on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Resolute Wealth Partners.
Okay.
And then we have our website, which is www.rwp.nm. .com.
So, and we'll put that on the screen, so
perfect.
it has some time there. Yeah.
Thank you. And then in terms of who would they work with, because that was one of the other questions.
Yes.
We do our best to try and align the right advisor with the right individual or family or business. And so, if there's a referral relationship, that oftentimes takes precedence because there is a personal connection to an individual.
Okay,
but
great.
if someone were to reach out to us, we would try and understand as much as we can ahead of time about that individual, and then put that with the right advisor. Okay.
Well, fantastic. So we'll make sure that all of his information is on the screen, so you can. But it's nice to get to know of you and possibly do some further stuff with RE/MAX Masters, because that's really the network that we're trying to build here. So thank you very much
Yeah.
for some time today.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah, great.
Thanks.